Might as well just kick it off. Guy I used to work with some years ago. Actually, it's now some decades ago. His favourite expression was kick it in the nuts and see what it does.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard that one.
He's sending me pictures.
Am I?
I don't know. I got something. Oh, no, maybe you posted it somewhere else. Into Demonworld General?
Yeah, I did. I kind of forgot to do that last night. And I thought, you know what, may as well.
Absolutely. Because somebody's going to be generating traffic in there, seeing as it isn't me. Because distracted.
Because you can't be bothered.
No, it's there's never not any bother there. It's just there are other things going on, and this is the problem when you've got one person who's doing everything in the game system. If that person is distracted, the game system goes on hold, which is kind of where we are at the moment. Because I've been busy with Interceptor. I've been busy with painting Earthdawn miniatures. I've had a ridiculously busy week at work. There's been other things going on. Joe's heading off for 2 weeks in Darwin tomorrow, and so Demonworld just sits there and looks at me with those sad puppy dog eyes going, well, come on.
I never really thought a game system could have sad puppy dog eyes, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Felt the same way with the podcast a bit recently.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. It's like, what are we now? Probably 15, 16 months into the process of attempting to get another edition of Demonworld done, and inevitably at some point you run out of energy, and it takes time to recharge and refocus. And I've got goals set. I've had plenty of deadlines go whooshing past with spectacular noise and not much to show for it. The blog posts dried up because I basically ran out of things to say.
That's kind of disconcerting. Haven't you got a whole bunch of books to fill?
I do. Absolutely do. Like I've got 6 chapters of a serial that are in edit at the moment, and the plan was to put them out periodically for people to read, more background and all that kind of stuff. But the editor's had things going on in her life which are very serious and time consuming and distracting, and it's just I find myself admiring Ross more and more just for his sheer level of patience, because obviously you need to build some momentum and we just don't seem to be able to generate any momentum. You're relying on so few people to do so many things that, and the Todd's out because he's currently crossing America
and having a bit of trouble with it.
and having a bit of trouble with it.
Go.
Well, that what happens when you put a house on wheels and shake it across America's highway? Well, I don't think the wheels have fallen off. Certainly other things have.
Yeah.
But so far it isn't the wheels. And we'd hope that it never is the wheels. But, I think he was expecting to be on the northwest coast by this weekend.
Mm.
So
Well, he's halfway there.
I do note that it does coincide with an anniversary of the release of Smokey and the Bandit, so I do wonder whether or not these things falling off the RV is because there might be a little bit of Burt Reynolds going on.
I hadn't put that one together, but I love that movie.
So do I. I saw a picture early this morning while I was grappling with my insomnia of a line of 30 or 40 or possibly even more Trans Ams commemorating.
Mm. I love Trans Ams too.
I've driven one.
Oh, lucky you.
It came from upstate New York and it almost had a floor left in it. Almost. The road was quite visible from the driver's seat without looking out the windows.
Oh dear.
Yes. You know that expression, being held together by the rust? It wasn't far off it.
I saw a little, just to change the subject slightly, I saw a little doco on a steam locomotive restoration last night.
Nice.
And that one was being held together by its rust. It had been static for 43 years and out of service for probably as long before that. 3 years, and the whole thing was basically rust. It was
Yeah.
practically a whole new engine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Grandpa's locomotive, right?
Mm.
And the thing about steam locomotives now are the rules around operations are very, very tight because they're exceedingly dangerous things, and when they're run by amateurs and the amateurs don't do the right things, they blow up and they kill people.
Oh, yeah. In Japan, to be a steam locomotive engineer or fireman, you need to be a certified boilermaker welder as well as a train engineer.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
not surprised because you need to know the ins and outs of how the things operate. We had a really interesting experience for Joe's father's 80th, which is a few years ago now. There's a place in Victoria where you can drive a steam locomotive. They give you tuition for a couple of hours, and then you get to take your family on a trip down the line and back again.
Mm.
And it's a very interesting thing that when they pull the carriages up to the platform, they immediately uncover the locomotive and they roll it back 100 yards away and let it cool
Yeah.
down, because they've had incidents where the change in thermo cycle or something like that in it set boilers off, and because there's heat soak and you get that sort of temperature spike before it actually starts to cool. You get the same thing in cars. Fans come on before the engine actually starts to cool because I'm not sure why, but anyhow, the temperature goes up before it goes down. So yeah, and because the rules are so tight, you have to have boiler certification, and the boiler certification is only a few years. Well, it's a limited number of years, and then you have to get the boiler recertified. And so there is no way that you're going to get a boiler that's been sitting there for 86 years out of use certified. So it's basically build a new one and then construct a locomotive around it. I do love trains.
Trains are great.
That's one thing that the Americans do better than anybody else, I think.
Really?
Have you seen a big boy?
Probably. So
That
I've got a whole bunch of American routes for Train Simulator, and
right.
I just don't drive them because they have ridiculously low speed limits.
Fair enough. Well,
They're like,
if speed limits are your thing, go to Japan.
well, I do like Japanese trains,
Oh yeah, so do
but
I.
I also love British trains
Yeah,
and German trains.
I just think that if you're looking for sheer size, American
Oh
trains
yeah,
are
for
where it's
sure.
at.
Yeah, definitely for size. I started up a journey from Salt Lake City to somewhere. Selected an engine, and it gave me two options: carriage or freight.
Right.
So I picked the freight option,
Yeah.
and it set me up a train 1.5 miles long.
Yep.
And a speed limit of 12 miles per hour.
Right. So.
Destination is 70 miles away. Estimated time of arrival 4 hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. For I don't know that would be entertaining at all. However, if you're sitting along, um,
Well, it tripped the emergency brakes because I sped accidentally
right.
for a few seconds.
So there's half an
And
hour letting the
and
brakes go.
tripping the emergency brakes derailed the train. I'm like, no, this can't be right, surely.
It happens.
Back to British Rail.
You're dealing with something 1.5 miles long.
Yeah.
Um, there's a couple of there's a guy who's been posting videos to YouTube for a very long time, and it's called the Thorn Apple River Rail series. And he's a guy that's grown up um, near Lake Michigan, basically, and he's a rail fan, and he goes and takes videos of railroads in and around sort of the Great Lakes sort of area.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so there's an iron ore range up there. There's still an active iron ore sort of thing, but he's also done a few on the American rail superhighways, and so there's a bunch of east-west crossings as well as a couple of north-south, um, and you go and have a look at the videos from the Union Pacific and stuff, superhighways where you're on a 3 or 4 track main where um, there's 100 or 110 movements a day of freight, and that's not counting any of the Amtrak stuff that interweaves its way through it. But you can just imagine sitting there, and you're talking 5 trains an hour, and all of them are between 180 and 240 cars long.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. They model not model railroader, but that magazine group, that had the Trains magazine and model railroader and model railroader specials and all that kind of stuff. They used to have a webcam. They might even still have it set up on a Y, which was a main junction between Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern or something. Somewhere. I might be getting all of this completely wrong, but it didn't matter. You could log into this webcam on the internet and you could watch trains go through this Y. And because there was 100 of them a day, you virtually guarantee that you could drop into this webcam and within 5 minutes you could watch a train go past. It's fabulous. And here I am, I'm in Australia, like thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of kilometres away. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've just quickly added that to my subscribe channels list. It's pretty exclusive Pictrain stuff. Although I prefer cab views, you know.
Oh, sure.
But
Absolutely.
like, it's nice to watch a train go by and to watch the scenery go by. But I like cab views.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this guy does really good quality voiceovers. They're informative and entertaining, and I don't know. I just think he produces a great product.
I'll have a closer look at him later today.
I suppose I should paint something, seeing as that's ostensibly what I'm here for.
Ostensibly. What are you painting today?
The last of the High Elves.
Is that because they're extinct? Because they were all eaten by monsters?
Oh, they could be spoilers. No, this is just the last packet that I'm painting up to take to Gen Con. I don't have any more. PE only sent me what I asked for, which was specifically what to take to Gen Con to do the demo games.
So what sort of demos are you planning on running? Like a few hundred points aside? Just small things, a couple of units?
Yeah, we'll basically be just playing the basic rules, which is a fixed army lists. Each one of the army lists is basically 2 units of foot, 2 units of ranged, and a couple of commanders and some skirmishers. So between now and getting on the plane, I've actually got to define all of those army lists and playtest them and finish the rules. Here's another couple of deadlines that have just gone whooshing past in a spectacular spray of broken dreams. Never mind.
Those puppy dog eyes again.
Those puppy dog eyes. It's like, but what about me? And the very first figure I pick up, I notice that I missed a bit of flash.
Yeah, it's a little bit early for me to be making jokes about Flash. I also happen to be painting archers.
Do you? What kind?
Barbarian eagle archers.
Okay.
Mm.
So these guys go out and shoot barbarian eagles?
Well, I don't know what really makes them eagle archers, aside from the fact that half of the figures have got like a sporran made of feathers.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's about the most eagle-y thing about them.
Feathered codpiece.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Be just a codpiece if it was a bald eagle.
Bald eagles are just overgrown seagulls.
Good evening to all of our American viewers.
Yep.
I can't paint when I'm laughing. No, I can't paint well when I'm laughing. Maybe I should just leave that at I can't paint well.
Well, it's not true.
But I I do love that photo of your collected force, and that's really impressive.
Yeah, it's kind of come together. It's nearly 800 mil from left to right. The
Yeah,
way it's arrayed there.
yeah. There's a really good body of work in there.
It's passable. It looks alright at distance, which is what that photo is. That's from
Oh,
2 feet away.
again, neither of us are attempting to enter Golden Demon.
Well, that's certainly true.
So we're attempting to paint armies, and you've painted an army.
Hmm.
And when you put a 15mm army on the table and you stand up straight, by definition, it's at arm's length. So that's
Yeah,
usually
true.
the distance at which you're going to be looking at it. And therefore, objective achieved.
There are a couple of things I'd change,
Mm,
just to tie it together as an army.
yeah,
And it's mostly to do with first units painted.
yeah.
I changed the foot cleansing dark knights to have pink plumes instead of all the colours of the rainbow that they are at the moment, which I thought was a pretty funny joke at the time. But now, seeing as how everyone else has got pink plumes, I'm like, we should just make them all pink.
Mm,
And that purple banner in the skeleton archers, I changed that to match the other banners. And
yeah,
the very first unit of Ice Witch Furies I did, they've all got red leggings
right,
because I thought they were leggings at the time.
right.
Um, and it's not until I painted 3 more units of the damn things that I realised that some of them are actually boots, and only one figure has leggings.
Right,
Like, so I'd make the boots, leather coloured,
right.
and that's about it. And that's all I would change if I were to be redoing it.
Mm,
But I'm not going to because I'm immensely lazy and I've got other things to paint.
that's exactly right. And you've got a good story to tell.
Um,
Whereas if you redid them, you wouldn't have a good story to tell. You'd be like, well, these used to be.
hmm.
Because somebody will go, why is that banner purple? And you'll go, well, now, there's
Well,
a story
originally I had
behind that.
ideas, and then
Yes.
I didn't like how the ideas turned out, so I scrapped it back to bare metal and painted it purple because why the hell not? I just bought a new pot of purple paint and I wanted to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I freehanded some gold onto it.
Because gold
Because why
goes
not?
because gold goes really well on purple.
Yep.
It's a good thing I like purple, seeing as how much of it I seem to be accumulating through no fault of my own.
Indeed.
It's a pretty simple mistake. It's one word, one three-letter word, and they missed it.
Yeah.
And he did apologise, and he has sent a replacement. So no harm, no foul.
Quite so.
I also sent an inquiring message to a small FLGS in Queensland because last Saturday I ordered something and by Thursday I hadn't heard anything, and I went, that he dropped it in the post Friday morning, so all good. Given it is Queensland, I should have it by the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I'm currently looking at
Oh, that
8
didn't turn
days
up,
to
did it?
halfway year. No, it didn't. and it
Ooh,
still says delivery date Friday to Wednesday,
right.
not Thursday to Wednesday. I'm like, that's basically a week on
Yep.
top of a week after I requested it.
Yep. So you know how last week I was talking about how I'd got an email about something that I didn't know what it was, and we figured out, I think, after the live stream that I did know what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's still not here.
God, that's not very good.
So,
I don't trust these third-party delivery agency companies and B Corps,
no,
and especially not B Corporation delivery agencies.
I was going to say, B Corps is not an aspiration, is it?
Oh, not if you want to be successful.
Nope.
If you want a virtue signal, yeah, but not if you want to be successful.
I've not heard that expression before. That's brilliant. Stick that one in the lexicon.
Please do.
I got to use another one earlier in the week. That's hollow values.
I like that. I've not
Uh,
heard that.
that's we. When I say we in quotes. I'm dobbing Clee in a bit here, but we've used that one on middle management in the last day or so.
Well, you'd expect it. Oh dear.
There is trouble brewing, believe me. There is trouble brewing. There's a meeting happening on Monday that could be very, very tasty. Very tasty indeed.
Hmm. Oh dear.
Mm-hmm. I hope he's feeling a bit better today. He had a bloody rough day yesterday. So,
How'd he go with the recent bout of weather?
I think they were flooded in for 16 or 17 hours or something. That was about it.
That's not so
Oh,
bad.
and the story about his missus ending up in the drink is because she was going to get the kids, and the kids were sheltering outside the school. And in order to do that, she has to cross the waterway. And the path across the waterway was already there was already water flowing across the top of it.
Yeah, it was
Not,
inundated.
but not a
Mm,
lot, right?
right.
So if you wandered through in bare feet, it probably wasn't even ankle deep. And there was a part that was moving quickly, and there was a part that was moving slowly. And she chose to go through the part that was moving slowly, which unfortunately the path takes a dog leg, and so the path that was moving slowly was the deep bit. So if she'd stayed in the part that was moving quickly, it was the shallow bit. So that's how she ended up neck deep in rising water.
Bloody hell.
So picked herself up out of
Again,
that, found the path,
please,
and moved
people,
on.
stay out of bloody floodwaters.
Yeah, well, had to go and get children.
Yeah, but still.
At least she'd figured out where the deep bit was, so they didn't end up in it. Never mind.
Yeah, it always bothered me whenever the news would show, images of kids making the best of a wet weather event by playing in floodwater. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Why are you putting this on the 6 o'clock news?
Mm-hmm.
This is bad. Don't encourage it.
Stop encouraging it. We um we live quite close to a flood control point. Actually, um, it it's called the Police Road Retarding Basin, and it's
A name likely to change in the next 3 years.
No. Well, it hasn't changed in the last 30, so... Oh, but who knows, right?
Who knows?
And when I was growing up in the next suburb, a kid drowned in the main drain culvert. There's a couple of big pipes that go beneath a man-made hill, basically, and they drowned in the pipes because they were playing in rising water. It just happens to be there's the confluence of two creeks. There's Dandenong Creek and I can't remember the name of the other one, but there's two creeks join at that point just as you sort of get to that flood control point. And so when you get a weather event, the water can rise very, very quickly.
Yeah, certainly it still happens to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's big fences and all sorts of stuff around it. Like you have to do a fair bit of work to get in there and get down there on the uphill side. But people still manage it. Came through there the other day walking the dog, and there's a guy down there fishing.
Of course. Of course. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to fish in stormwater runoff, but okay.
I don't know why you'd want to fish in the Dandenong Creek. I don't know that you're going to find anything. Not edible, anyway.
I'm not a fisherman, by the way. Are you?
No, not at all. There are easier ways to drown worms. Oh, I learned something interesting yesterday because we had our annual termite inspection. Because when we purchased the place, we had an unfortunate experience with termites in Emerald, and because the house that the house that Joe bought when we moved into Emerald, had termite damage in it from a previous dose of termites, and they hadn't repaired it all properly. But anyhow, so there was a bit of wrangling about whether they were going to fix it or not. In the end, they didn't, but we just accepted it. So we were a bit sort of bit clued into looking for termite infestations, damage, and all that kind of stuff. And so we made the purchase of this place subject to building inspection and a pest inspection. And the pest inspection actually found termites on the property. Now, Roville is notorious for termites. It's what's considered one of the high termite activity areas in the state. There are a lot of them. Termites in Victoria is just a thing.
Yarra City Council?
Possibly. Any politician at all. There was some old red gum sleeper retaining walls out the back that had a termite nest in them. So they treated it, and the previous owners paid for all of that. It cost them about $5,000. So we effectively got $5,000 off the price, basically, because we would have had to have dealt with it anyhow. So the condition of the termite treatment is that you have to get an inspection done every year. Now, when we moved into the place, Joe's son did the building inspection because he's a registered builder, and he noted that it was quite wet under the house on the downhill side. So on the inside of the foundation wall, because this house is on stumps, so there's foundation walls, there was a a wet channel, if you like, where the water's gone down the hill, hit the inside and been caught against the inside of the foundation wall and sort of then run down the hill towards the back of the property. And it was quite wet under there. And the previous owners freely admitted that they'd seen yabbies under there.
Oh,
And we're
wow.
like, well, that's a bit odd. Then we learnt that there is actually an underground creek runs at the base of the property. And so there is subterranean water flowing. And we're like, oh, okay. So, this is just an effect of the fact that it's wet around here. What the inspection guys who did the inspection yesterday said, he said the whole underside of the house is dried out completely. That it's really quite nicely dry under there, and there really isn't any moisture. Whereas when we moved in, the back end of the house in particular was quite damp. Like you could smell damp in the very back bedroom. And Joe and I are looking at each other, scratching our heads, and then it suddenly dawned on us that I fixed the stormwater.
Wow. Your underground creek was your stormwater problem?
No, the stormwater was the water problem. The underground creek actually has nothing to do with it. Because every time we got a heavy weather event, the water couldn't go anywhere because it was blocked. The stormwater was blocked. So all the gutters would overflow, all of the stormwater pipes would back up, and you would get water fountaining out of the downpipes because it had nowhere else to go. And that lower corner of the house, that stormwater pipe, you would get a 2 or 3 foot fountain of water coming out of it because it just had nowhere else to go. And so that corner of the yard, that area of the yard, would get saturated. So inevitably, some of it would end up inside underneath the house, and it would stay there because the surrounding area was absolutely soaking wet. Well, now it's not wet anymore because all of that water's just running away because it can get out of the stormwater.
I see.
So the whole reason they had yabbies under the house was because they covered that damn stormwater pit. And they never put 2 and 2 together. It's like baffling. Anyhow, so I'm going to poke my nose under there a little bit later today and have a look. It used to be really quite unpleasant to get under there because you had to go through this basically channel of mud, and all the services run down that side of the house. So to get in through the manhole, you've either got to go under or over the main sewer, or the main black water outlet under the house, which is a, I don't know, 150 mil pipe or something, and it's right in the middle. So you don't have a choice. You've got to go over it or under it.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's just, all I had to do was leave the damn thing exposed, but no.
You're going to phone them up and tell them?
No.
All these problems that you had with your house, they were caused by your stupidity in this one thing.
Yep. I'd love to. I'd love to. The guy was a muppet. He really was. Just, they did the renovations themselves. I think he did a lot of the renovations. And
Well, that's your damn problem, right there.
the majority of what was done was okay. There's nice fittings in the kitchen. There's a nice waterfall stone bench. There's a really, really top quality dishwasher. But then you think, that's great. And then you look at some of the finish. And it's not not the finish on the product, it's the finish of the installation. And you go, well, there's a screw missing from that. How hard would it have been to just go and get another screw and put the screw in? But no. The front door didn't close properly. The security door didn't close properly. There's 2 doors in the bedroom didn't close properly. There's a door in one of the spare rooms didn't close properly. And it's like, these people what, never closed doors? Like ever? It's like
Scott Cam's got a lot to answer for. Unfortunately, though, this isn't limited to home DIY renovations.
no. No.
Did I ever tell you about my last apartment?
No. I want to hear this story.
So it was a brand new building. First tenants in were me.
Right.
Into this particular room. This particular apartment in this brand new apartment building.
Yeah.
I watched it being built, and I know who the builders were. And the builders were a company that I have known professionally to be really dodgy.
Right, okay.
And because I was living on the street at the time when the building was being built, I had some run-ins with the workmen and also the site manager and said, look, don't park on my property, otherwise you're going to get bricks through your windows.
Yeah.
And that happened, and then they decided not to park on my property. It was also helped by having a big, heavy padlock and chain on it.
Right.
Anyway, getting to the apartment. It passed building certification, of course, because otherwise couldn't have moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a whole host of problems.
Yes.
The most minor of which was a door didn't close properly. The door to the second bathroom / laundry.
Yep.
The hole for the latch was not correctly aligned with the lock.
Right.
It was out by about 6 mil.
Quarter-inch.
Yeah. So it just couldn't be locked at all, which is disconcerting to some female guests of mine. Let's see. Blinds. Blinds have to be installed with a chain in Queensland.
Right.
And the chain has to be locked to the wall somehow.
Yes, to prevent hanging.
Right. So the guy who's done that has just made a 30 mil diameter hole and then filled it in with spack filler.
Right.
And then driven a screw into it.
Right.
I'm like, when it came out right away.
Yeah, right.
What else? The hot water took 2 minutes to come on from when you turn the taps.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, I timed it.
Was it instant? Or was it, well, you know what I mean. Was it on demand or was it in a canister?
On demand.
Right, okay.
I actually phoned, but it was a gas hot water service.
Yeah.
So, I actually phoned up the supplying company and said, look, what's going on? 2 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
You're kidding, right? Is the service actually hooked up?
Yeah.
The cupboard door to which the building certifier affixed his label wasn't hung right. It was hung at an angle.
Yeah.
And was difficult to close. I'm like, The best one, in my eye... Oh, before I get to the best one, the one that made me think of all of this was missing screws.
Yeah.
So fan blades in the ceiling fans were supposed to be held in by 3 screws.
Uh-huh.
They weren't. They were held in by 1.
One.
We discovered this when my brother was stretching up his hands into the ceiling fans to put on a shirt. The fan happened to be running at the time. It was a pure accident. He just stuck his hand into the ceiling fan and busted off a blade on his arm.
Right.
It was only held in by 1 screw, and it's just a plywood blade.
Yep.
Straight out. I'm like, come on, building manager.
Mm-hmm.
Should have had 3 screws in there, not 1. What
Yep.
the hell?
That should have broken my brother's arm, and it
Should
didn't.
have, but didn't,
It didn't.
fortunately.
You
I
know.
guess it was a relatively low speed. He had it on, but he was very upset, and it could have broken a window. Anyway,
Hmm.
the best one was the hot and cold shower tap in the main bathroom
Mm-hmm.
was reversed. When you turned it to hot, you got cold. You turned it to cold, you eventually got hot.
That's a criminal offence.
Yeah, and the building certifiers missed it.
Mm-hmm.
So the restoration of it was, why not just reverse the taps? Oh no, can't do that. We have to replumb it. Do you know where the hot water pipes are? Yeah, they're in the ceiling. Obviously, did not consult a plan because they dug out all of the plasterboard ceiling.
Hmm.
No pipes.
No.
Huh. Must be in the wall somewhere. So they've smashed into a wet area wall.
Yeah.
Had to waterproof it when they restored it
Mm-hmm.
because you know what?
It's a wet
Wasn't in
area.
there. It
Right.
wasn't in there. The 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 pipe junction is actually in the living room.
Oh
Shared
no.
wall.
Yeah.
It was right where the TV is. I'm
Oh.
like, "Argh."
Yeah.
They put a 2-foot square hole in the living room wall for 6 months.
Right.
Yeah. And that's all.
Muppets.
That was all just my apartment.
Right.
All of the plasterboard walls and ceiling on level 8 of this 10-story building had to be replaced because someone accidentally fed the rainwater gutters inwards instead of outwards.
Woods. Yeah.
And that was all destroyed in the first heavy rain in, I think it was 3 months after the building opened,
Yeah.
which was hilarious.
Yep.
And I said to the building manager, I'm like, yeah, this particular company is absolutely notorious for it. I could have told you that.
Hmm. Yep.
I'm sure they're still finding problems to this day,
Yeah.
nearly 6 years later.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, that stuff doesn't fix itself. So
No, it doesn't.
no.
Oh, all the NBN wiring was wrong too.
What a
They
surprise.
It took 3 months to get an NBN in because even though the wiring was installed, they submitted the wrong uh, serial numbers. They installed any old box.
Yeah.
My apartment number was 6. They installed the designated box for unit 64,
Right.
which is on level 8.
Yeah.
I'm like, They just picked up any old box and put it in, didn't they?
Yep.
The entire building. They
Yeah.
didn't get a single one right. I later found out.
Yeah. Well.
The NBN guy was a frequent visitor for 6 months.
Yeah.
How you going, Pete? Got another one? Yeah.
Yep.
How many is that? 30. Yeah.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
And they pay these Muppets.
Yep. And they get more contracts and
Yep.
rinse and repeat. So yeah,
But yeah, Scott Cam's got a lot to answer for.
it certainly does.
He should be in jail. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
He makes it look so easy. They don't show you the 50 blokes he's got working for him behind the
Well,
scenes.
this is the thing, right? You know, these people do all of this work. No, no, they don't. They
They
wrangle
don't even make the bloody
subcontractors.
artistic decisions.
No. So yeah,
Oh yeah, that wall's got structural reinforcement. No worries, we'll just knock all that out.
yeah. I'm reminded of the Faulty Towers episode where he knocks out a wall.
Yeah.
The builder comes in and goes, "Yeah, that was load bearing. Better put that back."
It's been a while since I've seen Faulty Towers.
Hmm.
I always found, I don't know, it was a bit hard for me to watch.
Oh, absolutely. It's cringe comedy.
Yeah.
It is difficult to watch. It's supposed to be. It's not quite as bad as some others do have them, but you know.
Yeah, well, that's a show I've never watched.
Yeah, I can't
Fortunately.
watch it. I can't.
Sorry for sneezing on Mike there.
The fact that blithering idiot on Some Others Do Have 'Em has such a glorious singing voice is one of those conundrums that I can't get past. Anyhow, it wasn't anything I could watch. My father enjoyed watching it, but I couldn't. The best sketch in Faulty Towers is the hearing aid sketch. Not
Hey?
really a sketch; it's the hearing aid episode.
Sorry, what did you say? I can't hear you.
Wait while I turn it up. Right now, shout in my face. But yeah, you know, even the guys that you know that do a good job, like Joe Sun's he's a good builder, and but the reason they're builders is because they can do stuff at a speed, which means that they can actually make a living out of it. Whereas there's if you know the tricks of the trade and you've got the right tools, then there's no reason why your average punter can't do what they do. It's just going to take longer. There's no. It's not like you have to be a qualified brain surgeon or something.
Sure.
So, but you see sometimes when they're working at the speed they need to work in order to be able to make money out of it, that some things just don't go right. Case in point, some of the stuff that happened in the workshop, I'm just sort of looking at it, scratching my head, going, I'm not entirely sure what happened here. You've got a row of roofing screws that have just completely missed the purlin. So I was like, all right, well, we'll just have to make sure that more go in to hit the purlin so that the roof doesn't fly off the next time we get it. But so I'm sure he would have seen it and gone, I have to go back and fix that up, and then gets distracted with a phone call or whatever and doesn't manage to get back and fix it up. But it's only a 4x7 structure, and I can tell you that it ain't straight.
Oh dear.
And I know this because I put like engineered plywood panels into it, and they're square, and yeah, they didn't fit. So, mind you, this is why you have architraves and cornices and all that kind of shit, because it's not a hell of a lot that's that square, really. Anyhow, I'm happy with it. It's a good structure, but yeah, the previous owner, oh boy, like cabinets, like in the vanity cabinets in the ensuite, 3 doors. So a left and right cavity on the left, and a right hand cavity, a right opening cavity on the right. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the left hand is obviously her, and the right hand is him, because that seems to be the ratio of product that is required for daily manipulation of self. At least in this household, that's how it works. Maybe others have it reversed. I don't know. But the cabinet was designed, and each cabinet door has a mirror. So there's 3 mirrors. So the whole thing forms basically a single mirrored surface divided into 3. And it had a beveled edge around the outside, which meant that the middle right-hand opening door didn't have a side bevel. It only had top and bottom bevels.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he'd swapped both right-hand opening doors. So the middle door had the right-hand bevel on it, and the right-hand door didn't have any bevels on it. See, just looking at it going, it just looks odd. Why would you do that? It just looks odd. And when you did it and it looked odd, it's 6 screws to take out to swap them over. Well, okay, 6 screws per door, so 12 screws to take out to swap them over to make it look not odd. But they put up with it for 2 years, looking odd. It's like, why go to all the trouble to do a really nice renovation to end up with just daft stuff like that?
Mm.
The bench in the kitchen's got a power board that submerges into the surface. So it's a round hole cut out, and it's got a lifting handle, and you lift the power board up, and now you've got power to the far end of the workbench, like the kitchen bench. So there's power on the wall at the stove end, and then there's this contraption at the waterfall end so that you get power at the other end. And this is for things like toasters and sandwich presses and things like that. Yeah, it's a very handy, very convenient feature. But he'd installed it in such a way, and he was an electrician, by the way, so he'd installed it in such a way that the power point under the bench that the lift up power board plugged into fouled the mechanism. So when you used to push it back down, it used to unplug itself. And so when you pulled it up the next time, it didn't work. We were scratching our heads, going, what the hell? I had a look in the cupboard and went, oh yeah, it failed. So unscrew the wall plate for the power point, turn it over, screw it back on, plug the plug in the other end. It doesn't foul anymore. It's quite literally 3 minutes worth of work to make something properly usable. I was like, they must have just left it up all the time.
Mm.
Never bothered to put it back into the bench. And like when Joe's finished tidying the kitchen up, she likes it down. She likes it out of the way because it's far more attractive when it's closed than it is with it popped up. It's just it's this constant string of these little things that were just never finished off properly. And you just wonder people's level of tolerance for unnecessary crap, basically.
But Scotty Cam makes it look so easy on
Looks
the
so
TV.
easy, and it's like this guy must have got home from work every day, and he just must have slumped in the chair in front of the TV with a beer in his hand, going, "Can't be bothered." His weekends must have involved being slumped in a chair in front of a TV with a can in his hand, going, "Can't be bothered." It's like, again, he was an electrician, and they put solar in, and there was a spa in, and there was all sorts of stuff in, and so did they do the job properly and replace the main fuse board? No. They tacked a subboard on. When they ran out of room in the subboard, they tacked another subboard on. And they plugged these fast blow switches into the old fuse blocks. You know, you can get those adapter style fast blow fast trip earth leakage detection switches. Then the cabinet door didn't close. So the cabinet door was held closed by a piece of string or something. And it's just like, oh no, it did close, but it actually fouled the switches.
Bloody hell.
And it's just like, why? A guy, we got the electrician that came in to do the air conditioners, and when they put the air conditioners in, they said, "We're not plumbing the air conditioners up to this. We're gonna force you to replace that board." And I went, "I want to do that anyway because I want to put a workshop in, and I want to make, I want to run a 6 mil line to the workshop." And they said, "Yeah, fair enough." So he spent, I think it was 4 hours, and he completely replaced the main fuse board in the house. And he did an absolutely beautiful job. All the wires were run beautifully and neatly, and they were all labelled. And there was a clear door closed over the fuses, and the main cabinet door didn't foul anymore. And it was just 4 hours. And he could have had something that was nice and neat and clean and finished. Nope.
Oh, that was something else that was wrong in that apartment of mine.
Yeah, the fuse board.
No, the fuse board was all right, although some of the fuses were incorrectly labelled. No, I
Right.
was going to say all of the network cabling run in the walls was
Yeah.
mislabeled as well.
Why not?
Bedroom 2 went to the kitchen. I'm like, it's actually closer to bedroom 1. I'm not even sure how you got that wrong.
Yeah, right. Yep. It's just they don't care. Well, there was no network cabling in this house when we moved in, so I ran it all.
Yeah, well, at least you'd know where you went and where you put it.
Yep. Mind you, I didn't label the cables themselves; I only labelled the points. But
Yeah.
because this is how I know that it was wet under the house, because for the first week after we moved in, I was under there continually, running the water line for the fridge, and then running the network cables, and this and that and the other. So I became very acquainted with all the critters down there. I didn't see any yabbies though. But I'm keen to poke my nose down there a little bit later and have a look at what this guy was talking about, because it would please me very greatly if that was dried out, because there used to be a really nasty, funky smell in that back bedroom. And if that's gone, so much the better.
Quite so.
Quite so. The flow and effects. You make a decision and all sorts of things. Oh, I've done them wrong. See how I've painted these, the outer sleeve blue? I've painted the inner sleeve blue on these guys. In actual fact, I've done these ones wrong. Never mind. The only person that's going to care is me.
Well, this is how you tell your different units apart.
That's right. Ah, these are the ones I screwed up. These are the ones I didn't. I was just going to paint this guy's pom-pom a different colour. But never mind.
Well, I suppose you could always stick them in your tub of isopropyl alcohol and
I could.
agitate.
I'm not going to.
Only set you back, what, 4 hours?
Yeah,
Waiting for primers to dry.
I know. 30 minutes. I have a dehydrator, remember?
Yeah.
It's only ever a 30-minute wait. I've discovered the joys of brush licking.
Oh dear. Like what you do with lead pencils.
Mm-hmm. Ah, thank you for reminding me. I need to take a trip to Officeworks later.
Mechanical pencil leads.
No, just mechanical pencils. I broke the last one. Dropped it on the floor and it snapped in half.
That's not very good.
No. I was most perturbed. Oh, so I was looking at mechanical pencils on eBay and I saw a really nice one. It's only $165.
That's not so bad.
I'm like, can I justify $165 for a mechanical pencil? I decided I couldn't. So I went and spent that $160 on Infinity Miniatures instead.
As you do.
Yes, I do. I have a problem. I have a very serious problem. I started looking at all the Dire Foes packs that they've been putting out over the last few years because I got the Outrage pack and character pack and I got the Betrayal character pack. Oh, you know what? One of those Outrage figures came in a Dire Foes pack. I think that's right. I might be getting that wrong. Anyhow, I started looking at the Dire Foes packs and I looked at them and went, oh, I've got a couple of them. How many are there? Did a little bit of digging. Oh, there are 10. And then they started doing Dire Foes packs for Code 1. But they haven't done any for N4. Or have they? No, I think they have done some for N4. Anyhow, it turns out I had all the Dire Foes packs for Code 1. But I was missing some of the ones for what would have been N3, I guess, at the time. And they stopped making them. So, of course, that horrible little collector voice in me went, better go looking for them now or you'll never get them. Oh, boy.
You do it to yourself.
I do. So, that's what's coming. One of those is what's coming from Queensland. Because there was that little hobby shop up there that had pack 2, I think. Whereas nobody else in Australia had it. And Dire Foes pack 4 is coming from the UK. From Troll Trader.
So this little shop up here, is it one I know of?
Might be. It's called Dave's Games.
I think I've seen a reference to it in passing.
It's a tiny little one-man operation, mostly on the internet. I believe he has a little bit of stock space that you can do collections from, but it's not a big outfit. The worrying thing about it is that, and I've not had a problem with him. Like, this is the second time I've dealt with him, and like he did respond to my query, and it did go in the mail, so no issues there. But when you pay, like off his website, PayPal send you a message going, you know what? Sometimes we review payments for people just to make sure they're all okay before we pass them on, and we're doing this. And the last time I bought something from him, PayPal did exactly the same thing. And it just leaves that little niggling worry in the back of your mind. Am I going to get what I've just shelled out money for or not? And I have, so, the guy's doing the right things, but it just leaves you with that little uncomfortable feeling. So I don't know whether there's anything he can do about that to get PayPal to trust him, but
Well, looking at his store info page, it seems as though he's had some problems before with people wanting refunds on stuff he's promised and hasn't been able to deliver.
right.
So I think that's his whole business.
It's so it isn't perfect.
No,
Right.
I think he's putting a lot of stuff on his webpage for stuff he buys in from overseas and doesn't keep it on hand.
Yeah. I definitely got the sense the first time that I did that that was the case. But this time round, he definitely had it, because there's no way he would have got it in less than a week. It was the first time round was a really just an unfortunate experience all round, because it was a battleship for drop fleet commander. So it was a $90 model, and yeah, he didn't have it on hand and had to order it from his supplier, and there was all of that hoo-ha, and when it finally arrived, it was missing a piece. So I had to go to TT Combat directly and say, this bit's missing a piece, with their, how they have those packing slips in them that says who packed it and all that kind of stuff. So I had to send them photos of all of that, and they sent me the replacement piece from England, and it got lost. So I had to go back to them and say, I never got this. So they went, really sorry, we'll send you another one. So they did, and that took another couple of weeks. And it was just, the whole thing was just really unfortunate from go to woe. So
I will say for Dave, he's got some good prices.
well, this is the only reason why I imagine people are continuing to use it. Because
Well, Speed Paint Mega Set 175,
mm-hmm.
RRP 250.
Mm-hmm.
The quick shade wash set is 60 bucks,
Mm-hmm.
which is the on special price that I paid yesterday for it.
You bought the skin tone set.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Skin tone set's RRP was well over 100.
My mistake.
Yeah. So yeah, good prices. I mean, I wasn't particularly concerned about the price of this particular piece, simply because the only people in this country that had it was him.
Yeah.
Like not even Etherworks had it. So this is how I know he didn't order it from Etherworks and get it delivered and then send it to me. It's because Etherworks didn't have it. In fact, I don't think they even had it listed. So I'm not sure where he got it from.
Might have been old stock.
Could have been. Could have been. I know he's an Infinity player. He did say he was playing a game of Infinity, so he may have obtained it from somewhere else. But, hopefully when it arrives at sort of the end of next week, assuming it arrives at the end of next week, and the box turns up from the UK, I'll have all 10.
Oh, I shouldn't be looking at this complete Wargamers paint set from Army Painter for $500. I definitely don't need to be looking at that.
What's this need thing you speak of? That's a damn good price.
Yeah, it is, but
How many of them have you got?
I actually don't have any Army Painter colours aside from a couple of the quick shades and the speed paints.
I bought.
All of my paints thus far have been, like, the regular paints have been Vallejo with
Right.
a small evening of GW.
Yeah. Well, I bought their mega set, not the complete set. So there are still Army Painter paint colours I don't have from the war paint set. Even though I've got the complete air set and the complete quick paint sets. And the skin tone set. What does that work out per pot? It's like
124 pots plus 5 brushes.
so
In
it's
this
like
set,
$4
so
a pot, and they're
yeah,
what, $6.50 a pot retail?
I think so.
Ooh. Did you see on his about page where he's located?
Yeah, yeah.
Long way from you?
Um, not really. I mean, he's a train trip away.
Yeah, okay.
It's probably 2 hours by train each way.
Right. So at least you could
Oh,
go.
hour and a
At
half.
least you could go there and loom.
Well, small showroom space. I'm like, maybe I should just look it up. Or am I going to get $500? Where am I going to get the space to put the damn things? I have to buy a couple of paint racks.
Don't you live with a parent?
Yeah, but the house is still full of junk. And it's not all mine.
At least it's not full of plants.
Well, I've just noticed that the table I've been using to paint has got a busted support on it that I need to rectify
Yeah, like that whole
before I put much more weight on it.
having that whole lot end up on the floor wouldn't be good.
No.
No. I don't know. It's just like it's an emotional drug, not a physiological one. Although I suppose the emotion generates a physiological reaction, so maybe.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I totally get that.
It's
It's
it's an endorphin thing, right?
that's why I ended up spending so much money yesterday. I decided to. Well, long story is I spent a lot of last week feeling really, well, the week that's just been
Yeah,
last week.
feeling like shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I decided, it's because I haven't been taking any of these supplements that I've been taking every morning. And I haven't been doing anything with the energy that they generate, and I'm nearly out of several of them. So that's why I stopped taking it. I've been rationing it to wean myself off. I decided to stop that and go for, I wouldn't say a run, but up to the supplement warehouse. That's not its business name, but
A
I spent
journey, yes.
yeah, on foot
Mm.
exercise
Yeah.
after taking almost the last of my stuff that I had on hand that I was trying to wean myself off of, and I actually feel good on this.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like having a nap, and so I spent $90 on supplements yesterday. um, and I actually regret making the purchase because one of them wasn't available
Right.
to purchase. It was I substituted the same product from a different brand. I didn't realize that this substitution, although half the price, was not pure. It has sweeteners and flavors in it. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"Eh." But also the flavor clashes with the flavor of the other supplement that I bought.
Oh.
One is artificial grape and the other is artificial lemon.
Oh.
I wanted the artificial lemon. There's an artificial grape flavor of the artificial lemon one,
Right.
but I don't actually like artificial grape.
Does anybody?
I don't get it.
So that's just a warning to me just to not eat it.
But I didn't notice. I just saw the sticker price. It was a
Yeah.
third of the price. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, bargain.
It's not a bargain if you have to eat artificial grape. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Plus, the sweeteners, I'm like, I can't mix these, so I'll have to drink two separate drinks. Oh my god, what a pain in the ass. Two drinks instead of one.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I
and then
get
you
no.
pointed out that little bargain, and I'm like, oh, maybe I need some other hobby tools as well. And so I spent $100 at War and Peace after that, and I'm like,
It was just
well, there goes my money for my birthday celebrations.
no. There is your birthday celebration, not the supplements, but the bits coming from War and Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I had budgeted about $200 for my birthday, and now that's all gone.
Well, no, you just need to budget somebody else's $200 for your birthday, and the drink should be on them because it's your birthday, really.
Yeah, I've been dodging those blokes a little bit recently. The last time we went out, I ended up buying 3 bloody movie tickets
Right.
and half the rounds. And I'm like, there's 2 of you, so it should at least be 1 movie ticket and not yours, and also a third of the rounds, not half. You poor bastards. I'm a poor bastard too.
Yes, but you're not the poor bastard that's taking advantage.
No, I'm the poor bastard being taken advantage of, and that's why I've been ducking him. Like, he phones me up at midnight on Thursday, and it's like, "Oh, do you want to go see the Broncos play on Friday?" I'm like, "No. Why are you calling me at midnight?" And
Mm,
also, no, I don't want to spend $50 to go to the football in the driving bloody rain,
mm,
because I was expecting it to rain yesterday. It didn't, fortunately.
mm.
And footy stadium beer, which is weak and
Awful.
expensive. And then all the bloody pubs on Caxton Street right after.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a $300 night, no worries.
So it wouldn't have been
So
$50 to go to the game. It would have been $350 to go to the game.
$50 for the ticket,
Mm.
and then all the beers, probably $60-$70 in the stadium, assuming that rounds were divvied up equally.
Mm-hmm. Assuming you
And
didn't
then
have to buy his
afterwards,
ticket for him.
yeah, no, screw that.
Yeah.
And I know that he gets more money from the government than I do,
Right.
because he lies about saying that he has to pay rent.
Right.
he doesn't pay rent, but he gets a rental allowance from the government as well. And so
Yep.
he gets like an extra 150 a fortnight. Bastard.
Well, if he gets caught, he gets to pay it back.
Yeah, true enough.
Mind
I
you.
think he's got bigger problems to worry about getting caught on.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, when you do pay it back, you can elect to pay it back at what? It's $1 a week or something.
I don't actually know.
Mm.
I've never been in that position, and I hope never to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can elect to pay it back at $1 a week. So yeah. Well, that's a sad state of affairs. Somebody should be looking after you on your birthday.
Well, maybe. I'm not a birthday person.
Subcontracted out for one day of the year. I'll be spending mine in America this year.
That'll be fun.
Might be. Depends on how much I've annoyed Ross's wife, Carol, I suppose.
Oh, you wouldn't do that, I'm sure.
Well, certainly not deliberately.
Yeah, true. Well, Americans do like Australians, I'm told. You'd probably be alright. Lay on some of that natural charm of yours. On second thought, maybe not.
just walk around, just walk around saying that's not a knife all the time.
I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. COBE. Yes, that joke needs set up. I'd like a coffee, please. Beer it is. Said coffee. Beer it is. COBE.
That was an ad, wasn't it?
No, that was The
No?
Simpsons again.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's probably been an ad as well, but
Probably. That just sounds like the kind of thing that Forex would have used as an ad campaign.
Forex used to have great ads.
They absolutely did. Absolutely. The collapsing ute. Think you've overdone it with a sherry. Suppose we should get something with the ladies. Couple of bottles of sherry. Yep. It was a great ad. I mean, it must have been because it stuck with me for how long? 40 years? Really clever advertising. Playing to the stereotype without being offensive. Although it is 2022, so I suppose if they ran that ad campaign now, somebody would find it offensive.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's why they pulled that Great Tui's New ad.
Yeah, right.
3 big Maori blokes and 2 Aussie blokes and an Aussie woman in a bar doing twist tops in various ways.
Yeah.
in displays of manliness, and they're all put to shame by the woman who takes the bottle below the counter.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And she's just twisted off the top, out of shot. But
Yes, the implication is something other
the
than that.
implication is something else.
Yeah.
And then there's the Bundy Bear ads.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about Bundy Rum, the ads.
The ads, because the drink itself is.
Oh yeah, the drinking Bundy Rum put me off spirits for 20 years.
Right. I like Bundaberg ginger beer, but I don't like Bundaberg.
Different company.
Yes.
Bundy SARS is pretty good too.
Yeah, I don't
If
like
you like
sarsaparilla. I don't
sarsaparilla.
like sarsaparilla. So
That's too bad.
I'm an unfortunate. I understand this. So something came up yesterday, which I got myself into deep trouble about. Was that somebody was saying that in their local culture, there's a saying that if you've got a mole on your tongue, you always speak the truth. And I said, in Australian culture, saying that you've got a mole on your tongue means something completely different. And they said, "Oh, really? I'll have to look that up." And I went, "Please don't. That's not safe for work." And it may be only Australians of a certain generation that understand that, because that particular
Word has kind of disappeared a little
derogatory
bit.
term has disappeared largely. But yeah.
If you grew up in the 80s, you'd know it.
Oh yeah.
I know it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a word I've used myself very frequently,
No.
except in relation to one TV character who happened to have that name.
Right. On the other hand, there was a product released not that long ago, which is a pain-killing substance, which is called Neuramol, and
Neuomol.
Neuramol.
Neuomol.
Yes.
I suppose that's one way of painkilling. All them endorphins.
That's it. Actually, anybody that's watched Muriel's Wedding will probably understand.
I haven't, but being Australian, I do know all about it.
Right.
And I mean, there's a reason why I haven't watched it, and it's because
It's mostly full of
of
ABBA
that.
music
Earl and moles.
and moles. There's some genuinely good moments in it, but on the whole, it's not my kind of thing. I'm suddenly reminded of the ping pong thing from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Why did that pop into my head? Pop.
Australian movies that are
Yes.
better left unwatched, to be
Yes.
honest.
No, it was probably because Bill, what's his name, was in both. Can't think of his name. He used to do the BHP ads.
Suppose I'll have to look.
Hunter? No.
Yeah, Bill Hunter.
Hmm.
He was also in Strictly Ballroom.
Yes. Tends to pop up in most things Australiana. Well, did. Might find that difficult now.
Seeing as how he's been 10 years in the ground.
Somewhat deceased. It's an X bill.
Actually, his last released acting role did come about 2 years after his death.
Which was?
An episode of Die on Your Feet.
Okay. Is that ironic?
I mean, this 8-part series follows the story of 5 stand-up comedians trying to make a go of it at the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Right.
I guess it was, file footage because he played himself in it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Melbourne Comedy Festival. Not very funny. Yeah.
Spring Street.
I'm not a great big fan of stand-up comedy. There are some comedians I like. They're all dead now.
Yeah.
The last one I went to, last stand-up comedy show I went to, was just awful.
Yeah.
It's the year 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 blokes, well, 4 people. They weren't
Mm.
all blokes, although one of them could have been. They weren't funny. 3 people showed up to watch it,
Right.
and I think 2 of them were friends of one of the performers, and
Right.
I happened to be there having a beer anyway.
Right. So you were accidentally audienced.
I was accidentally audienced. One of them's entire routine was John Howard jokes. Australian Prime Minister John Howard.
It's probably.
And most of the material in that was, GST related. So long before Howard was out of house. So we're talking about a 20-year-old routine at that point.
Yep.
I mean, seriously. One of the female comedians had an entire routine bagging out her children.
Okay.
I'm like, that's not fun. That's not nice.
That's a
I can't
coping.
laugh.
That's a coping mechanism.
Yeah. I don't remember what the other 2 were. They were bloody awful.
Yeah.
I do remember that the other female comedian just walked out in the middle of her set. She just left.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Well, that's the funniest thing that's happened in this show.
Pretty much. Anyway, I think that was the last comedy night that particular venue decided to hold.
Possibly. Not what you would consider successful.
No. I would have been very upset if they tried to ask for ticket money from me. Seeing as how I was there 2 hours before
already.
they showed up.
Yeah. Last comedy thing I remember seeing was at the comedy club in Melbourne, and it was a well-known comedian. The highlight, if you used the word highlight, to mean most notable thing that happened is that somebody in the audience got drunk and leapt up on stage and stole a microphone off the comedian and attempted to be funny.
Well, at least he's got courage.
Well, I think it was
Dutch courage,
Dutch
but
courage, you know.
still.
Well, that wasn't funny either, but it was just notable. But yeah, I haven't been to a comedy thing since. It's not my thing. I don't even do live music anymore.
No, I admit I don't go much for that anymore either.
Did you see that Rammstein had released a new album?
No, I don't think so.
There's some video clips up, so YouTube those if you are in that way inclined. They do a good music video.
Well, that's certainly true.
I'm just amused by the fact that the lead singer doesn't tell people the town that he lives in because he likes his peace and quiet.
Fair enough, too.
Those lads aren't young now.
They've been at it for a very long time.
Very long time. I wonder if they're the most successful German international act ever. Do you think they've surpassed David Hasselhoff yet?
By German International Act, I think you mean Germans who are international, not Americans who go to Germany. That'd be fair, wouldn't it?
I could have meant that. That's me. The Plastic Fantastic. And Steve Tyler's back in rehab. Woohoo!
What?
Hmm?
List of highest certified music artists in Germany.
Hmm?
5 artists sold 13 million records or more.
Yeah.
Rammstein's not amongst them.
Really?
Phil Collins at number 3.
There you go.
And I'm like, Phil Collins isn't German? Oh, wait, this is a list of everyone since 1991.
Right.
No, 1975, actually.
1975. And this
Like,
is so these are the artists that have sold the most albums in Germany. Yeah. So that's Rammstein has a far bigger audience than just Germany. Then
true.
so does Phil Collins. But you know what I mean.
I do.
Well, who was number one on that list?
Rammstein doesn't even crack the 5 million mark in Germany, apparently.
For albums sold?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The Beatles are only at 7.5 million.
Right.
Celine Dion's at 8.5. No, 8 million. Herbert Grönemeyer, 18 million.
Really? There you go. I wonder how many albums Rammstein have actually sold, like in totality.
suppose I'd have to go through and look at each individual album and total them all up.
Really? What, the Wikipedia page doesn't roll it up?
Doesn't look like it.
Wow. Come on, Wikipedia editors, what are you doing? Stop making Matty's life difficult.
Maths is hard.
Yeah. Well, only if you want it to be accurate. Project Manager Maths is really easy.
That's just whatever you want it to be, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Just make shit up. Then tell people that they committed to it.
Yeah, this isn't going to be very easy because while they do have album certifications, it's by country.
Oh, no way. That's going to be more ridiculous.
And not every country.
No. So only the ones over a certain threshold, presumably.
Yeah. So, like, Herzlite is platinum in Europe and Germany.
Yeah.
That's 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And silver in the UK for 60,000.
Right.
Saints hooked to 3 million.
Righto. Well, we're at 4.5 million for just those two.
Yeah.
I thought that Mutter was bigger than both of those.
Mutter didn't crack 1 million in any market.
Yeah, really? There you go.
Seems like.
So I'm wrong. Riser.
Yeah, Mutter's probably at about 1.5 million.
Righto. So we're at, what are we now? 6?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Riser 1.1, 1.2, 1.4. Yeah, 1.5 million.
Okay,
For Riser.
7.5. Liebe ist Valada.
You've skipped Rosenrot.
Oh, I did. I always forget about that one.
Well, so did everyone else. It looks like it's only sold 140,000.
Right.
Uh, 1.6 for is
Liebe ist.
Liebe before.
Yeah, okay. So we're at 9 now.
Yeah. 600,000 for the Untitled one.
The Untitled one.
Yeah, 2019. The Untitled or self-titled. It's actually an
Right.
untitled
Yeah.
album. 600,000 though.
Righto.
Nothing for the new one yet.
No.
Because it's only just come out.
It's only just been released. There you go. Somewhere between 9 and 10 million. It's not shabby.
Hmm.
But they've always done spectacularly good film clips. Music
Supposed to be
videos.
pretty good, yeah. And concerts.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
I had the Live Us Berlin DVD from ages ago.
Yeah,
I must have worn out that disc.
right.
I don't know what happened to it. It's no longer with me. I
Right.
think I wore it out.
Well, it was the only really good reason to go and watch Triple X.
Mm. You're not a Vin Diesel fan.
I don't mind his stuff. I think they jumped the shark with the Fast and the Furious stuff a very long time ago, so I stopped watching that.
Yeah, like after the second movie.
Well, the second movie didn't have any of the real cast in it, so maybe after the third or fourth.
No, it was the third one that didn't have any of the cast in it.
Which one was it?
The second one was still, yeah, Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo
was the
Drift
third
was the third one, was it?
Yeah.
Right. I think I saw up to 6.
I loved the hell out of the first one, and I thought the second one was okay.
Yeah.
I haven't bothered watching any of the ones since then, but I've got them all.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop me spending money on them. I just haven't watched them. I'm like, I want to keep my memories of the first one.
Yeah. I think the final straw was the first one with the rock in it. I think that was the final straw.
I heard they went into outer space for some reason in one of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
why?
Seriously?
Just why? Anyhow.
That's like that movie Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis on a moon buggy in space with a Gatling gun to blow up an asteroid. Like, yeah, okay.
It's not my thing. Well,
That's 4 colours.
5. It's 5. It's 5.
Impressive.
5 colours, 2 hours, a really good chin wag, and I think we've achieved what we set out to.
Get some colour on some miniatures.
Yeah, and some, I don't know, some mental health.
Happy to oblige.
Yeah.
And likewise, I mean, always look forward to this chat and to this painting.
So, sadly, the chores now await, and I probably should eat something.
Yeah. Breakfast first. Then chores.
Then chores.
Joe takes off today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning. Her flight is at 10:30 or something like that, which means she wants to be at the airport at 8:30.
Fair enough too.
Which means leaving here at 7:30.
I haven't been on a plane since COVID started.
No, me neither. First time will be flying to the US end of July, so
You probably want to get there more than 2 hours ahead for that one, because they'll probably screw you around.
they want test results 4 hours prior.
4 hours prior?
Yeah.
What do they do? Test you while you're waiting? Or?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to turn up early and get a test, and the test is supposed to be negative within 4 hours of flying or something. I didn't look that up. Joe was telling me that, so she was just saying that, need to be wary of what those rules are going into the trip to America. So The doctor reckons we'll be okay with the vaccination level that we're currently at. Don't need to boost it between now and then. So
I saw the Queensland government is pushing 4th boosters now,
right, well that hasn't
which is
started down
6
here
shots
yet.
total. I'm like,
Yeah, okay,
what?
6 shots in total. What is the
4 boosters?
four? So your original plus 4 boosters.
Not bad for a single shot vaccine, I think.
Yeah, not bad at all.
That's what we were promised back in 2021
That's
when they
right.
started being rolled out.
Huh? Well, it's only one at a time. They don't stick you with 2. So,
Yep. Seeing as how they don't work anyway.
Certainly take your choice. So take your chances either way.
Well,
Why?
let's face it, if
Why?
vaccinations worked for COVID-19, then why the hell is it still going on?
Yeah. Why are people still dying? Why didn't I take the blue pill?
Been a lot of years since I watched The Matrix.
You should rectify that. That should be a couple of times a year type thing, I would have thought. It is for me. And I tend to watch the second one because I like the freeway bit. Actually, I like the whole Merovingian bit.
See, it was the second one that turned me off the whole franchise.
Yeah, really.
Yep. I thought the first one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of the second one to the point where I just don't care.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy the second one. I really like it.
Oh, well, different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. If we all had the same taste, the world would be a damned boring place, that's for sure.
True enough.
But more people should get eye switches. Have a damn good weekend, Matty.
Thank you, Dan, and the same to you.
I shall. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, that's always a start.
And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks,
No doubt.
folks. See you all next week.